Generally, the auditions and the callbacks were in New York, but they might be in different places, like different studios, but they were all in the city. What they'll do for big Broadway shows and Broadway tours is go all over the country. So there'll be a whole audition session for over a week or two in Chicago. Then they'll come here to LA. A lot of our cast of the original tour came from LA. They auditioned here and found a lot of great people, and they booked the job, and they kind of came around and filled in the rest of the spots in New York and other places. Yeah. So yes, it's local to each city, but you're never going to have to travel to Chicago for a callback. You'll stay in town.
When did you know, that you were serious about it? When did you know that this was your calling?
It was a gradual thing. I knew it. I really made the decision when I was a junior in high school. I was an athlete growing up, did a lot of sports, but gradually I picked up the saxophone. And then I started doing choir, and then I started doing shows. And because of my size, the sports just kind of kept dropping, and I kept picking up other things. Finally, I realized it was what I wanted to do, stage and Broadway. Junior in high school, when I finally gave up my most loved sport, which was wrestling. My whole family wrestled, and look at me, but let that go, and then finally I was like, I knew I needed to train and get a voice teacher and be better than I was to get into the school that I wanted to get into. So once you know, it's like a blessing, because you can kind of not negate everything, but get a little bit of tunnel vision, and then I know exactly where I want to go, and you can find and do all the things that take you closer to that thing. So that happened when I was a junior. Yeah.
So just like a personal delight, what's the life like in terms of apartments, stuff like that? Because you guys are always traveling, right? So do you try to stay, do you still, have an apartment?
Yeah, well, what happens, a lot of times people will, for this tour track, I gave up my apartment completely. My wife and I have a 2-year-old, so we all went on tour together all across the country. So we didn't want to worry about an apartment, so we just moved out, put everything in storage, and did that. Ended up here. We moved from New York and came here just recently. We're not from here. So some people will find a sublet where they'll put it up, they'll talk to their friends and say, I'm leaving town for 6 months or a year, who wants to live in my place and pay my rent? When the tour's over, they'll come back and do it. So it's a little bit of a juggling act. Sometimes people will just give up their place if they were thinking about moving out anyway, or they'll sublet if they really, really like it. They'll find someone to take over the lease. Talk to it's like a landlord thing. Some people allow it, some people don't. But
yes, it's so evolved, right?
Yeah, but if you just say, hey, I'm looking for someone to live there for a year. What can happen though is that another actor will take it and then get a job and leave. So then the original person who's on the lease has to then find someone at a distance. So it can be a little bit of a hassle sometimes, but it all depends on how much you love your apartment, I guess. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So when you audition for a show where you're dancing and singing at the same time, at the audition, do you dance and sing separately?
Yes. Yeah. So you'll go in, do a dance call just like this. When I did this originally, there were, like I said, there were about 500 people there, and they did groups of 10. So, and it was just what we did. That's all we had in the audition. So you had about 2 or 3 seconds for them to look at you, and they had all your headshots down. So then they'll say, these people come back and sing, but you sing separately. Yeah. So then you'll go in. Everybody waits in line, they give you an order, and there's a piano player, and then everybody, the director, choreographer, are behind the table, and you sing 16 bars, maybe 32 bars, just a little cut of a song, and they'll sing something else, they'll say thank you very much, and you don't know. It's always the thing of you'll sing, and they'll smile at you and say, great, thank you, that's all we need, and you're like, yes, I booked that, and then you won't. And then you'll walk out going, I could have done that better, and then you get the job. So it really depends, but that's how they're separate, to answer back to your original question.
Yeah.
Anything else? You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. And go listen to some Hairspray and watch a movie or something, all right? Cool. Have a good night. Thank you guys.